Good afternoon, Robert Scribbler, and thank you for joining me for another supplemental OBX wave report. I am over here at the Outer Banks Brewing Station, and we are going to do a Friday for Future supplemental episode for you guys right now. So let's go take a little walk, do a little Friday for Future walk here. Okay, so I'm stepping out of my Tesla Model 3, and we are over here on the highway, and behind me is the Outer Banks Brewing Station, and you can see some beautiful local artwork here up on one of the brewing cisterns over here, or the brewing canisters. And over here at the Outer Banks Brewing Station, you've got a couple of Tesla charging stations, and so electric vehicle charging stations, which is definitely laudable here. There need to be more electric vehicle charging stations all up and down the Outer Banks, but the Outer Banks Brewing Station here has committed to renewability and clean energy while creating all sorts of fun for the visitors here in the Outer Banks. I'm going to walk over here to the Outer Banks Brewing Station sign, give you guys all a look over here behind the prickly pear cactuses, and I'm going to spout off some some statistics and information for you guys. So here's the Outer Banks Brewing Station sign. You're coming down the highway, coming down Route 12 here, southbound, and you see this sign. Go ahead and check it out. It's a great place to enjoy lunch, dinner, and all sorts of nice stuff in a sustainable restaurant environment. Why is sustainability so important for the Outer Banks? Well, the Outer Banks generates in the range of 25 to $30 billion. That's with a B in tourism revenue dollars every year in total, to include tourism dollars coming in, as well as employment made for the state of North Carolina. So it's very valuable for the state of North Carolina. And with rising sea levels driven by human-caused climate change, all of these wonderful Outer Banks here are under threat. And the Outer Banks Brewing Station here is a responsible community, locally owned business, and it is doing its best to help reduce coastal impacts, harmful impacts due to climate change driven by fossil fuel burning. And the way they're doing that is they have erected a wind turbine, and we're going to go take a look at the Outer Banks Brewing Station's wind turbine. I got a couple of folks coming in here to enjoy the brews here at the Outer Banks Brewing Station, but behind the Outer Banks Brewing Station, they have a nice gazebo where people enjoy beers or a game of cornhole, and just have a good old time. But here also behind the Outer Banks Brewing Station is their famous wind turbine, and we're going to walk up over here to the wind turbine and take a shot of this bad boy here. I'm going to walk out here so you guys can see it, and we're going to tilt the camera so that we get a good look at this glorious wind turbine here out above the Outer Banks Brewing Station. Now, this wind turbine right now today is calm, so it's not generating any power at present, but it does provide 80% of the energy needed for this brewing station. Now, the Outer Banks Brewing Station is one of the few locally owned businesses that has some form of clean energy directly erected or built to help power its day-to-day activities, use of electricity. And it is my opinion that pretty much everyone across the Outer Banks should be installing some form of wind or solar to set the example for what needs to be done for the Outer Banks. Now, local generating power companies are adding new clean energy, but in North Carolina, they're not adding it fast enough. And North Carolina is one of the worst polluting states in the United States per capita. And that needs to change rapidly if North Carolina is going to make good on its need to defend the Outer Banks and to secure a good livelihood for people here in the Outer Banks. But unfortunately, the Republican Party is more interested in sending court cases off to the Supreme Court to try and take away the voting rights of people here in North Carolina than to defend the coastline for the good people that live here, including myself. So this is a Friday for Future episode. I wanted to celebrate the Outer Banks Brewing Station, which has both fantastic food and beer and is taking action to help solve the climate crisis, taking responsibility, unlike the Republican state legislature here in North Carolina. So thank you for joining me for another supplemental episode of the OBX Wave Report. I will be chatting with you guys shortly, and if you guys come down to the Outer Banks, check out the Outer Banks Brewing Station. It is fantastic.